In this weird life of ours, we are often faced with challenging crossroads where we have to make a decision. Now, hard decisions absolutely matter because your resilience is going to be tested. It's going to tell you who you are and how much you can actually handle. Now, whether you're choosing a career path or venturing into new financial territory, making a hard decision feels like a beautiful dance between uncertainty and possibility. Hey there, I'm Tabby, a mental health guide that is obsessed with empowering you to live a life you truly love. Today and together, we're going to unveil the secrets behind the artistic process that enables us to paint a beautiful picture and make a difficult decision. Join me as we dive into a hard decision making where we embrace the power within us to navigate the complexities of decision making. So, where do you start? Step one, you write it down, you put it on paper. You're going to write down all of the details of your decision. You're going to include everything, including the stuff that you like, including the stuff that you don't like. How much money is this going to take? Do you need a plan to get more money? Having a visual representation, being able to see where you actually start, what you want, what you're doing in your world, you have to write it down. I was told a couple of years ago this cute little analogy, and I want to share it with you. If you're in a complex division class and your professor tells you to solve a really hard math problem that's on the board, you can't use your phone. Are you going to try to do it in your head? The answer is no. You're going to want pen and paper because you have to be able to see it. It's the same thing in decision making. If you want to accomplish something, you have to see it. And that starts with writing it on paper. Now, making hard decisions don't actually have to be hard. Once you write it down, you see everything that you need to see. But if we're going to keep going, step 2 is understanding your goals. Now, having a goal and making a hard decision go hand in hand with whatever your personal mission in life is. My personal mission is to live a life in peace. And what does that look like? This right here, talking about mental health, helping people, doing this kind of stuff. So when you're making a hard decision, if your mission is peace, then bring peace to that hard decision. Step 3, set aside time to think about it. Now, I know most people will straight up try to tell me, I think about this all the time. I think about it day, night, in my sleep, when I'm driving. But those are racing thoughts. You're not actually thinking about the decision. Now, giving your time, dedicated time to strategize this decision, whether that's a new job or a house decision or a relationship decision, you need to sit down with your pen and paper, looking at your list. You need to find quiet time and a quiet space to reflect. Racing thoughts are just that. They're going from this side to that side to this side to that side. You have 90 billion neurons, and they do not run in a train track. So they are bouncing. So setting time aside to focus on one thing, this decision, not dinner, not that project at work, not laundry. You sit down, you take that pen and paper, and you think about it. You write out pros, you write out cons. What happens in this world if you make this decision? What happens in that world if you don't make a decision? You physically have to sit down and you have to think about it, which is different from a racing thought. All right, so step 4 is probably one of the most annoying steps that there is, because depending on what you gather determines if you keep going or if you start over. Step 4, gather all of your information. So you're going to research and you're going to gather as much relevant information about each option, each one. You're going to consider pros and cons, potential risk, and benefits. Now, why would you need to start over? Because if you do not gather all of the information on the first try, or if you are pretentious and you only gather the stuff that you want for the decision that you want and not the decision that's right for you, then you're going to end up starting over because you're going to miss a spot. You're not going to understand what went wrong or where you missed that left turn. So gather all of your information as much as possible just to make an informed decision. Now, of course, there are going to be situations and instances where you're not able to gather all the information and you're going to have to guess blindly. Same concept. You gather as much as you can. You talk to people. You read. You do whatever it is that you have to do. You gather as much information as possible. Because step 5 is mental. Step 5. Base your decision on what's right for you. You have to consider your personal values or your priorities and evaluate which option or options align best with your individual needs. So if we are going to talk money for a second, my personal aspiration is to live a life in peace. So if I'm having to make a decision, and we're going to use money, I'm going to make a decision to whatever brings me peace. So if I need to transfer money from my savings account to my checking account, does that bring me peace? Will this decision bring me peace? Yes or no? And that's it. I need to go grocery shopping. Am I going to go with my children? Yes or no? What's going to bring me peace? Grocery shopping alone. Does it suck? Yes. But it brings me peace. And by the end of the day, I don't forget much. I am human, so I do forget things, but it's less. Whatever it is, your personal aspiration, is that living a life of peace? Is that the missing piece that you need? Base your decision on what's right for you, not your neighbor, not your parents. And sometimes, you know what? And sometimes making a decision for yourself does include your spouse or a child. Sometimes that includes your puppy dog. Sometimes that includes other people. But that does not include your neighbor down the street. That does not include that group of people that you hang out with every day. You make your decision based off of who you are and what it is that you need, not the world. Don't do that. All right, so we have our decision written on paper. We understand our goals, and we have thought about it plenty. Not just racing thoughts, but intentional thoughts. We have all of our information, and we know what decision we need to make for ourselves. Now, it's time to take some action. Now, you've already made your decision, and if you yet do not have a decision, you need to start over because you're missing something. You have to take necessary steps to implement it. Have you been wanting to launch a new business? You have to start talking about it. Are you trying to save money to buy a new house? You have to actually save money. You have to take action. You break the decision down into manageable tasks. You create a plan of action, and then you just start moving. Confidence is embodied by action. Every single time you take a step, you have what's called dopamine burst. And these dopamine bursts will continue to go off. That's your motivation factor. That's what keeps you going. Take action. Especially once you know what you got to do. Do it. Now, steps 7 and 8 are just as important as steps 1 through 6, because steps 7 and 8 will continue to make sure that you move forward in your decision making. Now, step 7 is going to seem kind of silly, but step 7 is practice decision making. Now, not all decisions are you going to have to write out all of the things, right? Some decisions, it's going to be, what do we have for dinner? But practicing making both big and small decisions will develop your decision skill and boost your confidence. It'll boost your confidence. Embrace the learning process. Be open to adjusting your approach. Sometimes we may think we're going to go through that blue door, and we don't even go through the door. We end up going downstairs and around the corner. It's okay. It's okay. Adjust what you need to adjust. Practice what you need to practice, and just watch your confidence go through the roof. Step 8, keep things in perspective. Now remember that no decision is set in stone. If circumstances change or if new information comes up, you have to be willing to reassess your decision. That does not mean give yourself a hard time. That does not mean question everything that you've done. That just means you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing by keeping things in perspective. Now maintain a flexible mindset. Be open to adjusting your path. This is going to take lots of time to master. I'm not even that great at decision making. You have to review and reassess your decisions. And don't give yourself a hard time if you thought you were going to go left and you ended up going right. You're already doing more than half of the population. You're trying. I'm going to say that again because it's very serious. If you're sitting here with me right now, you're doing more than what half of the world is doing because you're trying. Keep things in perspective. You are human. You cannot conquer the world without asking help. No decision needs to be so strained that your confidence and your self-image crashes and burns. It's okay to change. It's not okay to give up. Making a decision is complicated, but it doesn't have to be hard. All you have to do is write it down, think about it, and take action. I'm going to leave you the same way I always do. And until next time, be kind, always.